today. I wanted to thank everybody for coming tonight. I'm Amanda Carr-Wilcoxon. I'm a member of the history program at Pellissippi State Community College. I'm also a teaching fellow with the Tennessee Holocaust Commission. The Tennessee Holocaust Commission was created in 1984 by the Tennessee State Legislature. The primary role of the THC is education. The THC helped bring our speaker tonight, partnering with my college, Pellissippi State Community College. There will be time for questions at the end of the presentation. You can write your questions in the chat so we can manage that part of the night in an orderly way. I want to introduce Isabella Fisk. Forgive me, I'm reading here. So Isabella Fisk is a woman that wears many different hats depending on the time of day. A mother of two boys, Isabella finds a balance between her family, career, and volunteer work. Raised in the jewelry industry, Isabella Fisk's family owned and operated Lieber Farb Inc., a wedding and engagement ring manufacturer. After graduating college, Isabella joined the business in the mid-1990s as vice president of marketing and design. With Isabella's assistance, Lieber Farb was transformed from a simple wedding ring company to a nationally branded, full-service bridal company. In 2002, she, along with her sister, were honored with the Women's Jewelry Association Manufacturer of the Year Award. In 2016, Isabella started her own business, ISF Jewels. Leaving the manufacturing side of the jewelry or of the industry, she joined the retail sector by becoming a personal jeweler, custom designing jewelry for her clients. Most recently, in August of 2019, Isabella, along with her sister, Anne Arnold, started the Mark Schonwetter Holocaust Education Foundation in honor of their father, Mark Schonwetter. Being the daughters of a Holocaust survivor, they have made it their mission to promote awareness, kindness, and respect through Holocaust education. Since 2015, she has been traveling to schools nationwide to speak with students about her father's survival and teach them the importance of learning the lessons from the past and how it relates to today. In September 2021, Isabella was rewarded with the Simon Wiesenthal Center's Heroes for Tolerance Award. Involved in every community and sitting on various boards, Isabella's activism and voice stand strong for making a difference for a better and educated future for all. Ms. Fisk.
Thank you so much. I want to say thank you so much to the Pellissippi State Community College and to the Tennessee Holocaust Commission for hosting us today and allowing us to come in and tell our story and about the foundation. So thank you so much. You guys are doing such incredible work, and especially the Tennessee Holocaust Commission. You guys are just awesome, awesome, awesome. I can't say enough about how incredible the work is you're doing throughout the state of Tennessee. So thank you. It is my honor, my privilege to say that I am the daughter of a Holocaust survivor, Mark Schonwetter. And it is such a privilege for me not only to be here, but also for you guys to be able to hear firsthand from a Holocaust survivor. Unfortunately, the survivors are aging out, and you guys, many people won't have the benefit to be able to hear firsthand from someone that lived through the atrocities of World War II. So I want you guys to, take it upon yourselves, like it's become my life's mission. I want it to become your mission, to become the voice of Mark when, he's no longer here. There's plenty people out there that are denying that the Holocaust ever happened. They're denying that 6 million Jews were murdered just because of a religion that they believed in during the years of 1939 to 1945. There's people denying that there's 5 million additional people that died and were murdered strictly because of a different belief, whether they were part of the LGBTQ community, maybe they were part of the disability community, Roma gypsies, or even just believed in a different political belief that Adolf Hitler and the Nazi movement believed in. So over 11 million people And it's going to be your mission for someone, when you hear later on in life, if anyone ever tells you this didn't really happen, it's all made up. I'm asking you to say, no, no, no. I know it did happen for a fact because I heard firsthand from someone that lived through the atrocities. And I know for a fact it did happen. So keep that in mind. Take this to heart. Let this sit with you and live with you. And please become the voice for the future. So it's without further ado, it is my honor and my privilege to introduce my father, Mark Schonwetter.
Thank you, Isabella. Thank you to everybody for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to share with you my journey to survival during the Holocaust. I will give you highlights how I survived. But I mean, when I say I survived, keep in mind that me being a little boy with my little sister, younger sister than me, going through all those things during the war, that the main person here was my mother. And thanks to my father, that me, my sister, of course with her, we all survived. Because I consider my mom the greatest woman in the world. Well, I am originally from Poland. I lived in this, my parents lived in a small town named Brzostek, which is located in the southeastern part of Poland. My parents were farmers and had some people working, helping them to work in the fields. And let me tell you right in the beginning that there was one family that worked with them constantly, and my father gave them a room in their house so it would be convenient from both parties to be on the property and be more helpful to each other. And I'm mentioning that because those people helped us a lot in their survival. Besides being a farmer, my father was also the head of the Jewish community in our little town. So the war broke out in 1939. It took the Germans 3 weeks to occupy Poland. And we did see the Germans going through our town, and we saw trucks, tanks, but they just passed by, and life was going on the same way. Because nobody, and I mean nobody, dreamed of, thought, or anything. What are the consequences of occupying Poland by the fascist German army? And as I said in the beginning, was everything going normal? But then, after a few months, the Gestapo came to the town. They went to the chief of police, and they started asking him about the Jewish people. One time, second time. third time. Then he's telling the Gestapo guy to listen. You need so many information about the Jewish people here. There is a man named Schonwetter, which is my father. He's the head of the Jewish community. Why don't you talk to him? He may have more information that you are looking for. So they said, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. And from this moment on, they start coming to our house. They got all kind of information, whatever they needed. But at one point, they say to him, we have to impose some rules for the Jewish people. First thing, what you have to do right now is make sure that all the Jewish people wear a band on their arm with a Star of David. Soon after that, they came back and they say to him, you have to announce to all the Jewish people that if somebody has kids going to school, they are not permitted to go to school anymore. Short time after that, they came and they tell my father, we are giving you 24 hours. Find yourself a room someplace in town because we are taking the farm, the house, everything away from you. Take only personal belongings and move out. Well, my father didn't have much of a choice here. And that's what we did. We moved this out to this one-room apartment, and that's where we start living. From then on, if they needed him, they called them to the police station and they were talking to him. One day, they call him, it's late, and he's not coming back. My mom is getting scared. What happened? Why isn't he home? She's worried. But she's waiting and waiting. Finally, somebody knocks on the door and she sees it's the wife of the chief of police. And she tells my mom, listen, I overheard a conversation between my husband and the Gestapo. And they told my husband that soon they're taking all the Jewish people from this town somewhere. I don't know when, I don't know where. So I would strongly suggest take your two little kids and escape from here. And she left. Mom didn't know what to do. But she's concerned, she's scared. So she takes me and my sister, and we're going back to our original house, go to the Piwat family, and she tells them the whole thing, what she heard, and she's asking for help. Well, Mr. Piwat says, you know, it's late in the evening. Why don't we go sleep? Tomorrow morning, we sit down, we talk, and we figure out something. So he says, I don't have enough room here for 3 of you. So you go, which was a family part of his, sleep there. And pinpointing at me, he says, let him sleep with my kids here. We get together tomorrow morning. Mom left, I went to sleep. Early next morning, the door opens and the Gestapo walks in. They go to Mr. Piwat and they say to him, we were told that the Schonwetters are hiding here. Where are they? He says, they're not here. So he looks at Mr. Piwat and he says, we know they're here. You see, I have people with me. We're going to search the property. We're going to find them. You not cooperate, and the minute we find them, we're going to kill them and you. So where are they? He says, go search. They're not here. Okay, he tells two people, go out, inside, outside, start searching. Then he's walking out. But then he stopped by the door, turns around, pinpoints at one of the kids, happened to be the oldest sister, and he says to her, tell me quick, but I mean quick, how many kids are here? How many brothers and sisters you have? And she answers instantly, 8. He counts. It's 8 kids sleeping here. Okay, so he walks out. Well, let me tell you, I was the luckiest kid in the world that she was smart enough to include me in the count of her brothers and sisters, because I don't think I would be here today and speaking to you. Well, Mr. Piwat tells the kids, get out, go outside, and tells me, you go with my kids. When you be outside, run behind the house, hide yourself in the bushes there. Don't come back to the house. Wait for me. I will come and take you. So I was sitting, waiting for a while. He came. He took me. We went to my mom. And he tells my mom, it looks very serious, the whole thing. So I was thinking. And I think the best thing would be if you go to a ghetto. Mom says, okay, if you think that that's the best thing, okay, I will. So he says, let's go, I take you there. So we walked from our little town to the ghetto, which was about 15 miles. We got there, walked into the ghetto, and Mom starts looking for a place, for a room or something to live. Well, each house we walked in was full with people. No room. No room. While we walk, we see people live on the street. After walking for quite a few hours, Finally, she found a little spot on the attic of one of the houses. She grabbed the spot, and that's where we started having our house, call it. Well, me and my sister, two little kids, walking for so many hours. We were so hungry. We start crying, asking Mom, Mom, give us something to eat. We hungry, we hungry. But Mom doesn't have any food. So she turns around to a person and asking, can you tell me where I can get some food for my kids? The person says, you get food when they give you food. And that was the answer. Finally, we hear announcement, food, give you food. So we go, we stay in line. When we got to the table, they gave us, they call it soup. Actually, what it was warm water with some color in it and nothing else. Then you made another step and they gave you a loaf of bread, a slice of bread, dry, looking pretty bad. But we grabbed this, we ate this, and we learned from this moment on, that was the food that we used to get every day, twice a day. So you can imagine that this amount of food, you're hungry. So we were hungry day and night. There was no other food available anywhere there. We were getting sick. When we got sick, you couldn't go to a doctor because there was no doctor. You couldn't find medicine because there was no medicine. So if you didn't survive, the option was only to die. And we did see many, many people laying dead on the street. The house that we live, or every house, didn't have water. So we never washed ourselves. The clothes we had, when we walked into the ghetto, we didn't have any other clothes. So we lived in it day and night. Just, you can see that the conditions to live in there, they were horrible, horrible. But you didn't have a choice. So we lived like that. We lived like that about 4 months. One day, a little boy came to Mom and he says to her, I see a person is asking if you know a Schonwetter. So when I heard the name, I know you. Come on, I take you and I show you where he's standing there by the gate. He takes him, and Mom, and who is there, Mr. Piwat? And he tells Mom, go get your kids and I show you how to get out from here. Make it fast. So my mom runs, brings me and my sister. He takes a blanket, throws over the barbed wire, and tells Mom, pick a kid and throw him over. Mom says to him, I wish I could. I don't have strength. I am weak. I cannot pick up and throw it on top of it. No way. He says, you can do it. Look at the kids. They skin and bone. There is no weight there. You can do it. Do it and do it fast. We don't have time here. Do it fast. And she did. One at a time, she threw us over. Then she climbs. She flips over. He picks her up, and we run away from there. And that's how we escaped the ghetto. He took us to a village and told us that he made an arrangement with a farmer that they will hide us. So he brought us over there. And the woman sees Mom with two little kids, and she tells her, listen, I want you to be aware that those two little kids cannot laugh, cry, talk. They have to be quiet constantly. No sound. Can you do it? Mom said, don't worry. I make sure they will behave, they'll be fine. So go on the attic. There is plenty of hay. Cover yourself with it. And you're not going anywhere. You just sit there day and night. I get you some food, and that's it. And that's how we lived in this place. When we came was already fall. We lived through the winter. And in the spring, she tells my mom, I cannot hold you any longer. You have to go. But Mom says, I don't know where to go. Can you ask somebody to take me, to help me? No, I don't talk about you even to nobody. You have any ideas, any suggestions? So she says, well, you see this forest here? It's tremendously big forest. Why don't you take the keys? Kids, go to the forest. Nobody will think that you're hiding there. And you can live there. Summer coming. It's okay. So Mom takes two of us. We go to the forest. She found a spot. It's as good as anybody there. And that's how we start living in the forest. But soon when she got the spot, wherever was comfortable for her, she tells us, let's walk around here and start looking for some items that grow and are eatable, because we need to eat something. So we walked for a little while, and we came across strawberries, blueberries, mushrooms, and she told us, look at them, listen what I'm telling you. I would explain to you which ones are good to eat and which ones we're not supposed to eat because they are poisoning. And we learned And that's how we lived, eating those things. And we lived in this forest through the whole summer. But then fall, the winter is coming. Winter, it's cold. So mom says, well, we're going to go to farmers and beg them to take us. We're going to walk only in the evenings, no daytime. I will walk in, you will sit outside and wait for me till I get back. And she used to walk in, ask a farmer. Sometimes they took us in, sometimes they didn't. Then when they didn't take us in, she was taking us out from the village. She found a spot. You had some bushes, some trees. We slept in this spot. Then a whole day, we continue sitting there. And in the evening, start looking again for a place. But if it was snow, we slept in snow. All day long would be sitting in snow, freezing. Plus, we didn't have any food, so we didn't eat anything. Then in the evening, we start going and looking again. So usually this was every time a winter came, that's what we were doing. Summer times, we were sitting in a forest, but winter time, we had an issue. One day, we went to a farmer. We asked him, it's cold, can you take us and hide us someplace in your place? He kind of felt sorry for us. He says, yes, I take you, but let me think where to put you so you be safe and I be safe. Nobody will think that you can hide there. Come tomorrow. So we were waiting and we came back next day. And he says, you see, come over here. You see, this is a pigsty. I dig a hole here, but the hole is very shallow. The only way you can be in this hole is to lay down. There is not deep enough, or even to sit here. Would it be okay with you? Mom says, yeah, no problem. We can lay down. We don't have to sit or stay. It's fine. It's fine. So he says, step in, lay down. That's what we do. Then he takes pieces of wood. He covers the whole thing up. Then we hear him. He's throwing hay on top of it. A couple minutes later, we hear the pigs on top of us. They start jumping. We got scared. Maybe the wood would break. They kill us here. But they come down and we live in this hole about 3 months during the winter. It was very, very uncomfortable. When nature called, we need to do something. We couldn't get up and walk out from there. So my mom told us, you see, there is a little spot in the corner. We're going to use this as our, call it, restroom or toilet. So to get there, we had to roll ourselves one over the other to get in there. And the very unpleasant times were when the pigs on top of us start relieving themselves with a lot of liquid inside. And this thing start dripping on us. Wow. We start, complain to mother this in the beginning, but we didn't have much of a choice, or at all. And that's how we live till springtime. Was about 3 months like that. And then he told us go back to the forest. And that's what we did. Then in the late 1944 already, we start hearing some from far away explosions. Then Mom says, looks like the front line is getting here. We cannot sit in the forest. The German army is here. They might find us, because there are many of them going to move around the forest or something. No good, no good. Then all of a sudden, we see Polish farmers, groups of people going. Another few hours, another group, another group. So Mom says, what we're going to do, we're going to follow them. Wherever they go, we go. They must know where to go. So let's follow them. And that's what we did. So right in the beginning, she's telling us, remember, we are refugees escaping from the front line. Remember, we acting like we are Polish people, Polish Christian people. So let me show you. When Christians sit down and eat, they make a prayer and they cross themselves. And she showed us how to cross ourselves. Now you sit and you listen when they pray, listen to the words and try to remember them. So learn this. Then when Sunday came, we go to church. You look what people do in church. You just follow and do the same thing. And that's what we were learning and doing and live with a farmer through the whole winter. And then in 1945, February, there was no shootings, was quiet. And then all of a sudden, we see some soldiers coming. When they got to the house, we couldn't recognize them. Different uniforms. Then they start speaking. We couldn't understand one word. But one of them says, I speak Polish. We are the soldiers of the Soviet Union. We liberated you. For you, the war is over. Go home. There is no Germans around. We made sure you're safe. Well, you cannot imagine how we were happy. We are liberated. The war is over. We survived this. and we don't have to go and hide anymore. No, we survived somehow this period of time. Well, so I shared with you highlights of mine, together, of course, with my mom and sister, survival during this period of time. I share this with the young generation, the older generation, because I strongly feel that it's very important that the young generation, the older generation, that everybody knows the history. It knows what happened during this period of time. That we will keep this in our mind, that we will not erase this from our mind. Because I feel that with all the things going around in this world, we have to know by learning the history that we will not let anything like it to happen again. And I mean, not let this happen not only to the Jewish people, because as you heard before, Hitler didn't kill only Jews. Yes, most of them were Jews. There were other nationalities. And he, without any hesitation, was killing whoever he didn't like or whoever didn't fall in his view what the society should look like and who should be in this society. We don't want somebody today to jump in, take over, and slowly, slowly prepare himself to eliminate whoever he doesn't feel agrees with his view. That's why it's so important that we know the history, so we will never let anything like it to happen again. We have to make sure that people know that we, all of us, we all are human beings. Makes no difference if we're Christians, if we're Muslims, if we're Jewish, if we're Hindu, or whatever we believe in, whatever religion. It makes no difference if we black, if we white, if we brown, or whatever. We all human beings. So as human beings, and living on this planet for a short period of time, we're not living as long as the planet exists. Unfortunately not. So the time that we spend on this earth is so short. So why can we not live in peace with each other? with respect to each other, with love to each other, with friendship with each other? Why do we have to create hatreds between each other? You know and I know and you know that hatreds, it's creating only more hatred and more hatred. And finally, what happens? The hatred creates fighting and killing each other. Do we need anything like it? Why? So if we learn the history and know what was done between people, because somebody want to show that he's a genius by killing other people, we will never permit anything like it to happen again. So I wish you all the best. And I'm saying thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, please feel free, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks again.
Mr. Schonwetter, thank you so much. What struck me about your story is just how heroic your mother was, and so an amazing woman, no doubt. We do have a few questions in the Q&A, if you don't mind. So question number one, as a young boy, did you notice the adults blaming God for the persecution that Jewish people faced, just for your religious beliefs? Or were you able to keep faith that God would rescue you, and that God had a better plan?
Well, I have to say honestly that as a small kid, I didn't have yet any knowledge what religion means. And then when we were hiding during this period of time, there was nobody else, just three of us, or people that we been hidden by. Never the subject of religion, of faith, or anything like it was brought in. So this subject was never talked. And I never been involved in anything like it.
Thank you. There's a few more questions. So you tell me when you're done, okay? How did you acclimate back to life after all the struggles you and your family went through? What was life like afterwards?
Well, after the war ended and we started living in a large city, we moved out from our, we came originally to our house, but there was damage and Mom didn't feel comfortable to be there. So we moved to a large city. And it was difficult for many reasons. Number one, Mom wanted us to go to school because we didn't know ABCs or 1, 2, 3 or anything. Never went to school. So it was difficult because my sister, being younger, she was accepted to school. Me, they wouldn't take to the first grade because I was too old. So I had issues because Mom made a deal with the principal of a school. If he would agree that she would give me private lessons. And then if the teacher would feel comfortable that I know first grade, that he will give me a test. If I would pass the test, she would work on the second year, and so far and so far. He agreed. So I was taking lessons. And finally, he told me, got to the 6th grade, he says, now you can go to school. So then when I actually start going to school, so it was hard, everything together. But somehow we did this. And plus, we lived in Poland that time, and the government, the regime was communist regime in this period of time. So we had to get, not that we as small kids knew the difference between one political view and another, but start going to school and seeing that, of course, there was no other Jewish kids besides me and my sister. We were in 2 different schools, not the same. So there were only Polish kids. And they knew the difference, more or less, if not them, the parents knew. So they had some influence here. So it was different life.
Thank you. There's a few folks on the Q&A that were wondering if you knew what happened to your father.
Okay, we found out what happened to my father. I just have to give you a little quick background how this happened. When we was hiding in the forest, the son-in-law of Mr. Piwat once in a few months came and brought us a piece of bread. And one time he came in, my mom noticed that he's wearing a pair of shoes, and she's asking, where did you get those shoes? He didn't want to tell her. They start them. Finally, he says, okay, I tell you. Soon as you left the village, the Germans came with trucks and they requested Polish men to go to work. They load up 2 trucks, and one of them, I was there. They took us to a forest, and there was a lot, big lot. And they say, you see, this lot is prepared for you to dig a big, big hole, deep hole. So we work. After they were satisfied, they took us on the trucks, brought us back to town. Then in a couple days later or so, they came and they took us back to work. And we see we're going exactly same direction, and we're going to the same forest. So when we got to the spot, we look, and this big hole is full with dead bodies. They told us, cover this thing up, make this look like nothing happened here. There's no sign of anything. So we walked, we finished working. They told us, go and take one item for the work that you did. Because there were clothing all over the place on the side. So I was walking, I came off the shoes, and I see, here are the shoes, and I recognize that those are shoes of your husband. So for the memory of him, I took the shoes. So now you know, you ask for it, I'm telling you, your husband was killed, and he's in this mass grave in this forest. That's how we found out what happened to my father.
Oh man, I'm so sorry that you had to find out, well, that happened, but then that you found out, that you found out. Well, somebody asked if you have continued trauma from what you experienced.
Well, I have to say that I did not get any drama, any kind of upsetting thoughts, sickness, memory. Thanks God, no, nothing.
Thank you for sharing that. Sorry, I'm trying to lump questions together just to make sure that everything. Somebody was curious if your sister is still with us.
Yes, my sister's still with us. She lives in Israel because I came here by myself to the States. And my mom was staying together with her in Israel. And unfortunately, mom got older, but we were lucky that we had her till she was 94 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And such a blessing. And you came to the United States. What state do you live in the United States?
I live in New Jersey.
Okay. Have you ever been back to Poland?
Yes, I've been back to Poland several times. I want to make sure that first my kids know where I was born, where I live. So I took my kids, Isabella and the other daughter, Anne. We visited. Then we went to Poland when my kids had kids and showed to them. Plus some other occasions we had, so we went. So we went quite a few times to Poland.
How old were you when you came to the States?
I was in the early 20s.
So a young man.
I'm still
Sorry, you go. Sorry, I'm just again kind of trying to lump some questions together. Do you still practice Judaism now?
I practice the traditions of Judaism. That's all what I do.
Yeah, I can understand. Do you feel like you have a positive worldview now? And how were you able to move forward after such a stressful childhood?
Well, just to answer, the way the world is, I'm not a big politician to make I make my judgment about the world the way it is. Unfortunately, been through the history that there had always rifts between nations. And you would think that in time they will learn the history and they will know what are the consequences if they fight between each other. What's this causing? So maybe they would stop, because usually the innocent people are suffering more than the army itself. They should realize that this is not right. So as far as that, you hope that they will maybe one day, who knows when, but understand that. Did I answer right? Yeah, I missed something there.
No, you answered perfectly. Perfectly. Somebody was curious what your father and mother's name were so that they can honor you and your story.
My mother's name was Salah, and my father's name was Israel.
Um, oh, okay, somebody answered that one. Did your mother view her relationship with God as part of the reason why she was able to be so strong?
I unfortunately cannot give you the answer if she was or not, because while we were hiding at that period, during this period of time, and later on, even in life, Mom was always expressing her views, I would say, not mentioning any other things around. She was just always smiling, always looking positive on things, always explaining things. As a small kids, when we were, she never touched us. She would never spank us. She will always give us views that tomorrow is a better day and to wait for tomorrow. Today may not be as bad. Maybe it's bad, but you're going to see tomorrow be better. Just as an example, when we were hiding in the forest, and just simple thing, rain. So we sit under the tree, but you get wet. You don't have clothes to change. So we said, we cold. Look at us, we wet. So she, with a smile, says, take a look. You see, it stops raining. It stops slowly raining. I bet you tomorrow we're going to get the sunny day. You take off your clothes, you hang them on a tree, they will dry out and you'll be fine. And occasionally it happened many times that the sun came in next day, and we did this if it was raining before. So we kind of figured, Mom knows what she's talking. So we listened to her. She was always positive.
That's amazing. Again, I'm just floored by how strong your mother was. I can only wish to be half as strong as she was. Um, Somebody asked if you could share your favorite memory post-war with your family, or about your family, I should say.
Well, I think I have to say that good memory, happy memory was always, besides me being together with my wife, also, I have to say, and I don't think my daughter listens, I have the greatest two daughters. I cannot take anything away from it. And I am very lucky that the grandkids are as good as they are, or maybe better. You see, those are the best memories from my life that I can share whoever asks me this.
Okay, we'll do one more because there's kind of one more in here. Well, I guess there's more coming, but we're gonna do just one more, and I'm gonna ask: did you experience anti-Semitism after the war when you went to school or when you were in public?
Well, I did not have any anti-Semitism in school when I was going. If there was one incident, I don't know how to call it, because nobody in those days knew the expression of anti-Semitism. Nobody used this word. Nobody knew anything. I had a small incident in a class when I started going to school. And somehow I found out later, soon after that, was the reason behind that was because the kid who started with me, "Oh, you a Jew." That was the only thing that he said. And we had an argument, me and him. But just to give you the story so you understand. So him and two other kids, and me and another two kids, winter time, they told us, we made an agreement to go and fight with the snowballs. 3 against 3. So we start throwing the balls. All of a sudden, I feel a ball hits my head, and I check my forehead, and it's like bleeding. I said, "Why is it snow from the snow? It's bleeding." So I take the snow blow, then I squeeze, and I see there is a stone inside. So I ran to him and said, "What did you do? Why did you hit this? Why did you hit me with a stone? What did I do to you? Why you do that?" "Are you a Jew?" That's what it happened, how it happened. I say, "What?" So he started laughing, he walked away. So I got home and I told Mom, because she asked me, "What happened to you?" I said, "Oh, that's what happened." I'm telling her. So I don't want to go to school anymore. She said, no, you go to school. You go to him and tell him that he was wrong. He shouldn't do that to you. And try to straighten out with him this issue. So next day I go to school, we talk, and then, so he takes and he pushes me. So I said, "What are you doing? You want to fight now?" He said, "That's another bad idea. We can fight." I said, "Yeah." And he was bigger than me. I said, "Well, I go to fight, he's going to beat the out of me." But I say, I cannot give it up. I say, "Okay, we go to fight. But it's going to be only me and you, nobody else, just 2 of us. You want to have your friends? I have my friends. They will stay on the side." "Sure." Okay. So after school, we went in a place and we start fighting. I don't know how it happened, but it did. I beat out of him. You know what? I won the fight pretty good. So then he's standing and with his eyes crying a little bit while he lost. I said, "I tell you what, doesn't matter who won, who lost. From now on, we friends. If you want it, that'd be the best thing we can do. We can start being friends and forget it. What you said, what I said, what I am I, who am I, what you are. We friends." He says, "Right, that's what we do." And we became best friends. That was the only time through the public school, through high school, and then I have to say I went to the university, but I didn't finish, but I did. never had any incidents.
I want to, once again say thank you so much for taking time and being with us tonight. I was going to turn the floor back over to your daughter, Miss Fisk, to let her close things out for us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amanda and Elisa and Allison again. This has been wonderful. I love all the questions that were being asked, and I tried to type as quickly as I possible to answer some of them while Mark was answering them as well. So I know we have a lot of participants here, and it's so spectacular that you stayed on and listened. And, I just want to bring it back to why is it so important? We talk about what happened over 80 years ago and how is it still relative today? Unfortunately, there's still so much hate going on in this world. There's all this the rise of anti-Semitism, anti-Black hate, anti-Asian hate, anti-LGBTQ hate, anti everything and anything that you could possibly think of. It's out there. And for what? As Mark said, hate only creates more hate. And what will that do for us? I want us to realize that it's so important. We have a choice in life. We have a choice to do good or to do bad. We have a choice between kindness or not. Mr. Pewatt and everyone that helped save my family had a choice. They used their voices. They realized that something was bad happening, and they stood up. They took their lives at risk. Now I'm saying never to somebody to take your life at risk, but what I am saying is when you see something wrong is happening, stand up and use your voice. It's powerful. Use it for good. Stand up for that person that maybe doesn't have that voice or is scared to use it because they're by themselves. I always say, we're on social media all the time and we sit there and we look at Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and all these other social media feeds. Think about what you post before you post it. Is this something that you would want being said to you? Is this something that you would want to see yourself? Think about that. How would that affect others before you put it out there into the world? If you see someone sitting alone somewhere, what does it take just to go up to them and say hello? Give them a smile. Wouldn't it feel good if you were by yourself and someone was friendly and said hello to you and gave you a smile? It goes a long way. Think about those things. Put yourself in the footsteps in the shoes of somebody else before you do anything. So I always say there's, after the rain, a rainbow comes out. And in the rainbow, we see color. And we love the rainbow and we embrace the color and we go and we take the picture of the rainbow and we post the picture on Facebook and on Instagram. How beautiful the rainbow is, and it makes us smile and it makes us happy. Well, I can't see the faces in front of me right now, but I guarantee you if I did, I would see all different colored skin. I would see all different colored hair, different colored eyes. And that means we're all full of color. We all have color among us. And the color I see in front of me is beautiful. So I want you to remember that we all are the rainbow, and we should all embrace each other like we embrace the rainbow. Use your voices for kindness and for good, and make the change for good in life. So thank you so much for hosting us and hearing us tonight. Thank you.